Warrior Mindset Podcast. We are your guide as you make your way through life, getting better 1% every day. We believe that life is lived and true victory won through adversity. Nothing easy is ever worth it. We believe in the warrior ethos and support those that choose to walk that path.
Aaron, how do you live a life of purpose?
Well, Chat GPT says.
You can't look.
Okay, no cheating.
You cannot mention that on this show.
Oh, now I feel I have no purpose anymore, and I have to leave.
We are going to look in this show. We're going to kind of go through concept of purpose,
Okay.
like living a life of purpose, right? Because that's what everybody wants to do. I think, maybe not.
Well,
maybe
let's talk through that.
Yeah, maybe some people don't care, but So let's get into it. Like, let's start there. And do you feel like your life has purpose and meaning?
Yeah. Yes, but it's had different purpose size.
I don't know. Let's go.
Purpose I. It's had different purposes at different times in my life. Maybe.
Okay.
How about you?
Yeah, it definitely changes over time. Yeah, I'm in a different place now than I was when I was 15.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Gotta hope so.
I mean, when I was 18, purpose in life was, trying to just get to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
All right, try not to make a joke there.
Yeah.
But just trying to get to the next level and not really caring much about, the next 50 years.
Right.
And as you get older, maybe your purpose is more centered around other people, maybe your family,
right,
your friends, whatever, and that begins to give you purpose. So, what about you?
Yeah, I think that not only there are times, or obviously stages in your life that define different purpose that you have, and yes, going from childhood to teenage to maybe college or starting to work for the first time, getting into relationships, married or long-term relationships, and then kids, like all of those, definitely start to change your purpose. But
that seems like an easy answer, though.
No, I know, but
and I said it.
Yeah,
I'm not challenging you.
But there's, and I think I may have just lost it, but there's obviously more than that, and okay, I just turned 49 last week, and we had a friend die in that same week who she was 49.
Oh boy.
Yeah. So
you're feeling your own mortality.
Well, yeah, for sure. And but I think that each year my new year is my birthday, not January 1st. That's how I look at it. That's how I look at my birthdays. Is my new year.
Very self-centered life.
It is. Kind of have that sometimes. So I would have already gone through that kind of catharsis of okay, here's the new year, celebrating the old, looking forward to the new, and I mean, I've gotten off of Facebook, but I did at least post on there, and I do this every single year. Time to kick, 49's ass. Yep. Yeah. But our friend dying at the same age, made me even go through and also the day before I turned 49, like we were running a race on that Saturday, and the day before,
and you crushed it.
Well, I crushed it.
You can brag a little bit.
It was my best 5K time ever. But also the day before, I think I had COVID. Because
I had COVID and your
I had a fever or low grade fever. My body, body aches and everything. And anyway, so like after that happened that week, then I was like, I'm just gonna sleep downstairs, stay away, for my wife, and then at 2 a.m. like she comes running into downstairs, and I'm like, oh my god. And I had asked her like, hey, what did our friend, what were her symptoms, those
Right,
type of things.
right.
And then like, so it wasn't totally unwarranted that I was thinking that way, because
Sure.
she came in and checked me at 2 a.m. to make sure I was breathing.
Right,
Okay. So back to, what does that have
Yeah.
to do with purpose? Like,
Yeah.
so yeah, I've had that yearly reminder, but then, then you have those times where, you have a friend die at a relatively young age for,
Sure.
for us.
Yeah.
You have, something that is changing, or, a huge change in your life one way or another.
Mm.
And, and I feel like your purpose not only changes with the stages in your life, but it also changes as you have those reminders that you are, you're mortal.
Yeah. Do you believe that in order to have a fulfilling life, you have to have purpose? Whatever that purpose means to you.
Yeah, because what the hell are you doing? I mean, like,
Yeah.
like I I feel lucky that I have some type of purpose. I feel that there are people that maybe if they don't have purpose, that's where they,
Yeah.
go down a path to where, it's not good.
Right. Could be.
And then, you hear about the redemption of people,
Yeah.
when
Right.
they go down the path, and then, and then they find purpose either within them, intrinsically, or
say they find
extraneously.
themselves.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And so that there's something, and, for some people that's religion, for some people that is their kids, some people that is, sometimes in a job, or a career, or sometimes that's, building, something, whether it be, something in your personal life, something in your
Business.
business.
Yeah, it could be.
Um and so yeah, sometimes you use that as a way to frame your life in order to move towards a direction
Yeah.
that would make you better. So if that's what your purpose is, no matter what that purpose is, and unless you're
Yeah.
screwing over somebody else,
Well,
I'm with you. You know,
your purpose could be to take over the world.
Hey,
I mean,
Pinky in the brain.
would you agree with the thesis that many people on the planet find struggle to find purpose
Yeah, of course,
in their daily lives?
right. I mean, and that's why you get slapped in the face when you know when you have a divorce,
Yeah.
when you lose your job,
Right.
when
When you're like, things were not like I thought they were.
well, it's not just that, Gene. It's like there was something there that was right behind you, going, hey,
Yeah.
hey, tapping you on the shoulder. You need to pay attention to this. You
Right.
need to pay attention to this. And then the next thing that happens is you get slapped in the face, and you go, wait a minute, I didn't see it coming. But guess what? It's been there all along. So back to purpose, like
Mhm.
if you maybe are not living life with some type of purpose, whatever your purpose is,
Right.
then you're going to get slapped in the face, and it's going to happen to you more often than not. And I've been slapped in the face many times, literally. And
We told you to stop doing that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
But figuratively and literally, like it's happened because I was not living the way that maybe I wanted to.
Yeah.
And I was lying to myself. There's another part of that too, that I'm going this direction and everything's good. But I wasn't doing all the things that, like, if you really have a purpose, then the people that have purpose and know what they're trying to do, like those are the people, A, that you read about,
Yeah.
B, that, are profiled somewhere.
Yeah, pretty much.
But if you're not heading towards something, then what are you doing?
Yeah.
And are you always in purgatory at that point?
I think a lot of people are.
And
You and I found you and I, if I remember right, I just had a podcast with somebody, and I spoke a lot about Coach Divine.
Yep.
I talk about him. Anybody listens to this knows who I'm talking about. You and I kind of found him at the same time, I think.
Yep.
Maybe you've seen him before, or whatever. I don't remember if you introduced him to me or we were just like stumbled upon it. I remember
Holy shit.
I remember distinctly sitting there on a desk just like this one, watching on the big TV in one of our old offices or whatever,
Mhm.
like all the seal fit videos that they'd put together. It was like 9 episodes or whatever. We
Yep.
just sat there all day
Yeah,
and
the
watched them.
Koroko,
Yeah, the Kokoro
yeah.
events.
Yeah.
You know, he has that saying, master yourself, serve others.
Mhm.
I'll get back around to that. I think, you know, one of the things I see a lot for the gym in particular, for people, you know, trying to get in shape or
Mhm.
to train for some event or whatever, is they're trying to find motivation. They struggle with motivation.
Yeah.
How do I get motivated? What's my motivation? You know, and like Jocko will tell you discipline. Find discipline. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I'm down with that. I think everybody needs some discipline.
Yeah.
But I think motivation comes from having some sort of like uh purpose. I don't want to say purpose driven because that's like trademarked or something, but
Sure.
like a mission. You know what I mean? And I think that mission and what Coach Divine would teach you is that mission should come from um, a set of personal values that you create. You sort of author.
Yeah.
You almost have to create them. So it's like a mantra. You know, like samurai had Bushido,
Mhm.
right? And they wrote it down. You know, like
Yeah.
Spartans had like Spartan culture that was like spoke of and told to other people. You know, not that everybody has to be some kind of warrior, but I mean, this is the warrior mindset.
Yeah.
But my point is like, you know, I mean, have you've done that? I mean, you kind of have a little mantra. We talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
But
Happy, healthy, wealthy,
yeah,
wise, and free.
yeah, there you go. You have a little mantra
Mhm.
that's also sort of like a guidepost for your personal values. And
Yeah.
and I see it. I've known you for a long time, and I've watched you make moves and decisions, and I've watched you sort of, you know, in your latest job, like sort of get promoted and do more work and stuff. And it sort of drives you.
Yeah.
You know?
But you know, I start with happy and end with free.
Yeah.
And there's a reason. Like,
Explain it.
so my senior quote I remember was something to the effect of like, I just want to be happy. And I kept looking back at that like years later. I'm like, God, what an idiot.
It's real though.
It's real because that drives everything else. If I'm not happy, then it's really hard to push myself to be healthy.
Yeah.
So happy, healthy. And if I'm not happy and I'm not healthy, well, guess what? It's really hard to become wealthy. And I want to clarify again, wealthy is not being rich.
Yeah.
It's about being able to afford yourself opportunities out there. Sometimes they're money, sometimes they're jobs,
Sometimes it's just enjoying time with your family.
exactly. And it's having the opportunities to do the things that you want. So if I'm not happy, if I'm not healthy, then I can't be wealthy. And then wise is a combination of all those things put together. It's
Yeah.
continually trying to find a way to be happy. It's continually, learning new things in order to stay healthy. It's continually, learning new things, but also meeting new people
Yeah.
and looking for ways to find opportunities
Yeah.
in order to be wealthy. That's what I think makes you wise. But you do all those things in order to get to free. I added free probably about 3 years ago. And, it used to be happy, healthy, wealthy. And I stopped there. But I added free actually by listening to Jocko.
Yeah.
And because freedom equals discipline. Right. And
Discipline equals freedom, my friend.
I know exactly, but I knew it was wrong. But I added it because of that, because I kept thinking like, well, what is my, like, what am I doing? Why
Yeah,
am I doing
right.
these things? And it's ultimately to be free to do the things that I
Yeah,
want to do.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so, but like those, you're right. Those are guide rails for me to stay within. They seem very nebulous or whatever, but those are guide rails, and that's a mantra. But for me,
You have a whole like system behind it. Like you just went through it. I mean,
Yeah.
It's a whole strategy.
Yeah.
Like it's cool. It's cool. But I mean, that's awesome. Like I don't know that there's a lot of folks that like take the time to sort of do that, you
yeah.
know?
But I mean, this week I got off track.
Well, of course, you're
I-
going to get off
but-
track.
but-
Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, but
You
that's the
always
thing.
have that guide star to like get you right back.
And that's the you know, I think we said it before, like an airplane, is never directly on course. Even with autopilot, it veers off a course.
Right.
And when it veers off a course,
You put it right back.
1 degree,
Yeah.
that's what the autopilot's job is, to put it back to where it is. And so a
Yeah.
flight from Atlanta to LA is, hundreds of thousands of course corrections, in order to get you back to the same place, because otherwise you end up in Canada somewhere in the middle.
That's that wisdom at work, folks.
Science.
Yeah, I mean it's figuring out what's most important.
Yeah.
What is really most important.
Right.
Yeah, it's some deep stuff.
Oh, and so I keep that as my purpose of ultimately being free. And then that's when you can fold everything back into those things.
Yeah.
And that's my, like, how do I stay happy with my family? How do I stay happy with my job?
Yeah.
How do I stay, healthy? And it's not just the how do I stay healthy, but also why do I stay healthy?
Yeah.
It's the how and the why that are linked to those things as you go. And, I'm sure there are more sides of it, but those two sides are very important. The why has to continually be there. And it has, like, those are guideposts, but it's probably
Yeah.
tied to, like, a lot of it is tied to my family. And, I think I told you, years ago, the Tony Robbins, thing of I was driving down the road listening to him, whatever, Tony Robbins. And he's like, think about, the worst day of your life. Think about, if you had no family, no house,
Mhm.
no money, no, like, and get yourself to a point where, you have nothing, and then build yourself back up.
Yeah.
And, and then you start to find the things that are most important to you. And I've figured out over time that, like, the things that are most important to me are my family, and then my friends. And then, after that, everything can build on top of that. So if I tag everything in that happy, healthy, wealthy, wise, and free back to family first,
Yeah.
and then continuing to, the other things on top of that, then that's where I feel like I am living my life with purpose.
I dig it. Everybody go do that. Yeah, but I mean, that's what I think. I've done several of these shows, and a lot of the coaching and stuff I do is about people will literally ask me, how do I set goals?
Mhm.
Like I have trouble setting goals.
Yeah, I know you do. You wouldn't. Can I tell?
Yeah.
Okay. Every year when we're working together, I was like, it's December. We're taking 2 weeks off. Hey, man, let's work on
Yeah.
goals for the year. And you're like, hell no.
Nope.
I think that they're in you.
Yes.
I
Yes.
think that you just didn't want to put them out there necessarily.
Yeah. That's where I was going with that.
Yeah.
Thank you for reading my mind.
Yeah.
Is like, I think everything that gets written about it, and like you doing a show, you have to put together like an outline.
Yeah.
You're gonna write a blog post. You need an outline. You need things. You need PDFs to download and workbooks and things. And that's cool, but it doesn't have to be formal.
Mhm.
I think there's a tremendous amount of value in formalizing it. Like you have your mantra. You've never written down the strategy behind it outside of maybe you've journaled a little bit or something, but you don't like have a PDF document that you're like, here you go, folks.
No,
Here's
but I'm sure as hell gonna write
You
that
should, you
down
should.
and put it out.
You should. I mean, it doesn't have to be so
No.
formal. We talk about that with mentors. You don't have to have an official mentor relationship that
no.
you sign a contract over, and it's you.
No.
I mean,
You can have mentors that they don't know that they are mentoring you.
yeah, you can have a goal that's like, I mean, I want to finish my work for the week by Wednesday so I can go on vacation.
Yeah.
I mean, or you can have a goal that's like 50 years from now.
Right.
And that goal could not be, it doesn't have to be so like granite. It doesn't have to be like a mountain and like this thing that I can't change and I have to keep working towards. I mean, I also think there's a tremendous value in it not being so formal.
Yep.
And there are different people in the world, and people are different.
Yeah.
They approach things differently, plan things differently, worry about things differently, and that's cool. You have to find like what works for you.
Yeah.
What makes you feel all warm and tingly, gives you that sense of fulfillment in life, whatever that goal setting procedure is.
Well,
Um,
and one of the reasons that I've had so many problems with goals over the years is because of me thinking that it had to be something formal.
yeah.
And
Well, that's why I avoided
I know
even talking about it
I
out
know.
loud for
I-
so long in my life.
Right. And because you can get into the meta of
Yeah,
goal planning that is a whole nother thing
it's
to
a whole
itself.
nother
And I mean,
show.
obviously there are plenty of
Yeah.
books about it. And I think I've said it too before. Like there have been times where I've just said, okay, I'm going to read this book and I'm going to do whatever the hell it says
Yeah.
and just go with that. And whatever that next book is, I don't care. Like somebody's written it, I'm going to try to, use the framework and go with it. And every single time it's like you know, do it this way, and then
Yeah.
and then write this down, and next thing I know, I'm like, okay, but this other person said this,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
then I try to combine them, and the next thing I know, I'm like, I haven't made the goals, nor
Yeah.
have I not
Have I even done
worked
anything?
towards the
Yeah.
goals. All I've done is worked on coming up with goals.
Yeah.
And so like last week, instead of doing all of that rigmarole at the beginning of the week, like on the weekend before, I was like, okay, here's something that I really want to work on personally for a new project for me. And I was like, I have a shit ton of work to do all
Yeah.
this next week.
Right.
And if I do that, then I will probably be fired at some point.
Which will stop all the goals.
Exactly. So I made the deal with myself, and this was the goal
Yeah.
for the week. Just like spend the first 4 days and do everything that you need to do and treat it like you're going on vacation on Friday. But Monday through Thursday, focus only on work.
Yeah.
And then I said, the bargain with myself,
Mm.
the goal was if you do all that on Friday, you can spend the entire day working on your personal project.
That's cool.
And
Right.
Google did that for years. I don't think they do it anymore, but they had the
Yeah, I remember.
the 20% day.
Yeah.
They had one day a week
Right.
devoted to personal
Yeah.
projects that ended up benefiting and becoming
Well, yeah,
some of the
because Google owned everything they did. So
well,
whatever.
exactly, yeah, but they would work on something that was interesting to them.
Yeah.
And some of those things turned into things that you use now.
Oh yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's exactly what I did. But
Yeah.
that was a form of goal setting that you can just do
Yeah, real quick.
And back to it gets me to my
Yeah.
purpose
Yeah.
of
right.
like hey, Friday was free. I'm happy, I'm healthy, wealthy, wise. I'm going through the week and everything, but Friday, goddamn it, is free.
Yeah.
And that that was what I was working for the entire week in order to get to that day where I could just do the things I wanted to do.
Mm. You know what else I think gets in the way of this kind of stuff is is like your starting mindset. I think that I've known several people and currently know people who, like, for example, think that everything it's always broken, and we're always on this mission to fix the thing we're doing. You know people like that?
Said something to somebody about you're throwing up roadblocks constantly.
It's like, yeah, well, there's that.
Yeah.
But also, like, let's say we've got this business working on, and it's never,
Oh, right.
it's all like something always needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
We have to always fix some process or fix something. And it's like, well, what if it's not broken? What if like
It was doing well.
what if you're making money and everything's cool?
Mhm.
Can you accept what you're doing? And I think a lot of times it's because they lack a genuine mission, or they lack genuine fulfillment from the thing they're doing.
Yeah.
So they're trying to, I'm playing like dime store psychologist here.
Mhm.
And they're trying, you might be trying to fill some void that might be those things by creating things that you have to fix. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Almost like a long version of the dopamine thing when you're sifting through
Yeah,
TikTok.
sure.
You know what I mean? Because it feels good to like, oh, I solved a problem. It's like, well, but what if you created that problem?
Yeah. What if
I mean, and it's not really a problem.
what if you had the perfect business and it made exactly what it was supposed to?
Right.
And, law of diminishing returns says that if you try to fix something in it,
Yeah.
not only will it will not be a positive net effect, but then I'm sure there's another law somewhere in there that says that it might be a negative effect.
Yeah. Or best case, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah,
And you just waste the time.
exactly.
Whatever.
So if you have that perfect, then then there's the time to like keep that where it is, make sure it's running fine,
Yeah.
and do something else on
Yeah.
top of that.
Yeah. Or
Because that's good. That's where it should
like
be.
accept the reality.
Yeah.
And
Don't spend your
kick some
time.
ass.
Don't spend your time fixing it.
kick some ass.
Yeah, just
That's what kicking ass means.
yeah.
To me, that's what kicking ass means. It means like, when you're talking about business, like you've built this engine that's doing what it's supposed to do.
Right.
Let's do a lot of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, let's do a lot of it.
And really have a good time doing it.
Yeah, right? Like, let's be happy.
Yeah.
Like, it's not the relationships are the same way. Maybe your relationship is good.
Mhm.
And going to therapy could actually fuck it up. I mean, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could probably happen. I don't know.
No, but if there's good communication within the relationship,
Mhm.
then does it need fixing?
What's the problem? What's the problem, Joe?
Right. Now, again, that's the tapping on your back shoulder.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's like
It wasn't like you thought. Yeah. Damn.
Yeah. Well, it was perfect for you.
Yeah. Right.
I've had this before. It was perfect for me.
We've
but it wa-
established this is a self-centered
exactly
podcast. So-
exactly, but it wasn't perfect for the other person.
Yeah. Well, that's probably the case most of
Exactly. So, so then it's not perfect.
So why fix my problem? Well, the second part of this whole thesis thing is finding meaning in everyday actions.
Mhm.
I think we're going down that road, but I mean, we talked about that a little bit. It's having the clear mission, the clear like direction
Mhm.
in life, whatever that is for you, and then in extracting like intentional work, intentional progress. You know what I mean?
All right.
How do you find that? Like, I think we dipped into it a little bit, but like the healthy, wealthy, wise, and free. I mean, how do you set intention on achieving that?
I don't do it as often as I need
I
to.
mean, it doesn't have to be a daily thing.
Oh no, but I the thing that I like that I've heard some people say, and I can't remember who, but I've heard this multiple times over the years is as I'm doing something, no matter what it is, there will be times where I'll go and say, is this getting me to my goal? Is this is this doing for me what I need it to do for me?
Mm.
And whether that's something good or even bad, like, hey, if I have that banana with Nutella on it at 11 p.m.,
Ooh,
like I did last night.
that sounds good.
Yeah, it was awesome. If I do that, then is it going to get me closer? Like, when I wake up in the morning and I weigh
Yeah,
myself,
right.
like I woke up and I'm like, hey, I'm 1 pound heavier than I expected to be.
A snack bit me in the ass.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
And I mean, I still did it, but
I hope so. It's Nutella.
yeah, it was good. But normally I try not to eat past like 6:30 at night or something
Yeah.
like that. So it's most of the time I will ask myself as I'm doing something, if I can remember to do, to ask myself, like, is this getting me closer to my goal?
Yeah.
Is it taking me further away? And if it's getting me closer to my goal, then it's getting me closer to my purpose. If it's taking away from that, then it's taking away from my purpose.
Right.
And that's that airplane course correction.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that I've found, but it's not easy to do that.
No, but it is a lot easier to have discipline that way.
Yeah.
I mean, at least it gives you a compass to like
No,
not feel like crap over it,
Right.
Like, at least you understand like this is how I get back.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, when I started intermittent fasting for the first time, like, the first couple of days were not fun.
Yeah, they're usually brutal.
Yeah. But like I could take off, not do it for 3 months, and then I could,
Yeah.
do it for another,
Right.
month or two, and not think about it, because like I've I've gotten my mind to where I know that I can, do
Right.
that.
You know, you can
And
last until 1 o'clock or
right.
2 or whatever.
Exactly. But at the time I had to like set reminders for myself. I had to use like the Zero app to like
Right.
continually check, like, have I gone, like,
Yeah, well,
14, 22 hours, whatever it is.
5 minutes left.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I can eat. And well, that was the thing. Like, can I make it to 14 hours? And then, yeah, what is it? Like 16/8. I would make it to 16, but then there was a certain time where it was like, next thing I looked, I'm like, oh, it's been 22
Yeah,
hours.
I kept going.
Yeah, I kept going, and not that there's anything wrong with that, but
Yeah.
I was like, maybe I should eat.
Yeah.
And but having those things to remind yourself, having the little alarms, having with my daughter, I'm like, hey, have an alarm that reminds you to do the thing that you said you wanted to do.
Right.
My alarm at 8 o'clock in the morning says, get the cones stuff out of the refrigerator. Cones are my in-laws, and
Okay.
and I had something in there.
It's like,
I had something in the refrigerator that I had to get. This was like in December,
sure.
but my alarm still says that.
Oh.
But it was something that
It's still
it was
used.
something like, if I didn't do
Yeah.
that, then
Yeah.
guess what? I would have gotten in trouble with them and my wife. So,
So all
but-
your goal basis is on avoiding issues.
oh God, yeah,
Family. Yeah,
no.
I think most of us are.
Yeah, exactly. But I guess what I'm saying is like, do the little course corrections, build in things for yourself to remind yourself to do the things that get you to your goal, that get you to your
Yeah.
purpose on a daily basis.
Yeah, that's right.
Because you can't get to your purpose, like, oh, it's a year from now, whatever that,
I did it by accident.
exactly. Your purpose is, you can't be a procrastinator. You can't be a procrastinator to get to your purpose,
Yeah, definitely not.
because you will never get there.
Yeah.
And not that a purpose is an end goal, there's no end to it,
Sure.
but you're not going to procrastinate to the point to where you're like, okay, and now I'm here. It's not a paper that you can write at 3 a.m. and turn in the next day.
Yeah. That's an assignment. That's not a goal.
Right.
They're very different things.
Yeah, exactly.
Your goal might be to not fail that assignment.
Right.
Right. I mean, you're talking about, what you're describing is ending the day and feeling good because what you did that day at some point
Mhm.
had meaning.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Like, it meant something. I didn't just like turn the hamster wheel today, which
Yeah.
happens sometimes.
Oh
But
God, yeah.
but what I did today had meaning. What I did this week was meaningful. Like, I got further, pushed that boulder a little bit further up the hill,
Yeah.
like whatever it is.
I got so much done last week because I gave myself that goal of.
Doesn't it feel good?
It was not only a goal; it was a reward, obviously, to do something for myself on on what would quote unquote be a work day. Yes, it felt good, but the thing was, is like I got double rewarded because like I got all this stuff done,
Yeah.
which wasn't truly the purpose of the goal that I was
Right,
making.
right,
It was that was the great byproduct of it. Where the goal was to reward myself with that one day, and yeah, I got double rewarded last week for it.
It's amazing. I've started. I'll go in and tell you what I'm doing here in a minute. But I recently, I don't know, it was like a year or so ago. I realized because I had to like go somewhere. Like I was like, I got to get all this crap done. I had some stuff I had to get done by like noon.
Yeah.
Because I got to go. Like I have to go, and I also have to have this thing done.
Right.
And I got it done.
Yeah.
And I realized, man, if I just like get to the office and shut the hell up and do what I got to do.
Mhm.
Usually do a full day's work in like 3 hours.
Yeah, exactly.
Usually faster.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Mhm.
I think we also kind of fit what we have to do in the time that we like are are scheduled to spend in a place,
time
which
expands to
which is weird,
yeah,
right?
or, yeah, task expands to meet time.
Yeah. So that's one of my ongoing things is I try to get my day done by about noon.
Mhm.
Um, and I've been hitting it pretty good for a couple of years.
Yeah.
And that allows me the freedom in the second half of the day to like do like little projects and things that I want, and
Yeah.
like better myself, pursue hobbies, and do nothing and like feel energized the next day.
Yeah, because I already got it done.
Yeah, and it feels good.
Mhm.
I know not everyone can do that. Like, your job may require you to physically be in a place doing things for 12 hours in a row. I get that.
Right. Or you're also, if it's not that, then your job may require you to be on freaking meetings all day long and never get any work done. Like somebody
It could.
that's sitting right here.
Yeah, that was actually the first half of my week. I was feeling, and that was making me very irritable.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I should be in the other room doing things.
Mhm.
Like, this is wasting my time.
Yeah. No. I've been getting upset about some things, work, home, whatever. And then I had, today it was just like, why? Like that is taking you away from your purpose. If you continually get upset about it, like these are
Ooh,
just things that need to be done.
I like that.
Yeah. And yeah, when you're sitting, so what is, like your energy is not resonating to the, to the level it's at a low level as opposed to it should be at a high level. Well, that's, your body, your mind, your soul
Was
is
that you I was talking to recently? Someone, it's kind of weird. I think someone else just mentioned that to me. Was it you? Maybe it
No.
was you. I don't know. I forget who I talked to. Like 9
Yeah,
times out of 10.
talking about
They were literally talking about like some concept of someone delivering like low performance vibes or something to you, or like the vibe, like whatever vibes you bring, like the feeling you bring in the room is like lowering everyone's like ability to like do a good job or
it's
whatever.
true, and it's true, and I find that I find that on work calls, like if I
Yeah.
go in there and I'm upset, guess what? Guess where the conversation ends up going because I end up pulling it down, or somebody else says or something. But if everybody is like on working at a higher level energy, then like everybody leaves, they're energized and everything, and then they go and do more.
And that's like your purpose as a leader.
Yeah.
Is to leave it better than you found it.
Right, exactly.
You know?
Exactly. That's something that I have to continually work on as a leader in my
Yeah.
organization. That like there are times where you have to be firm with people and say, no, this is the direction we're going.
We got to stay on target.
Do not,
guys. Yeah.
do not. Here's your guide rails.
Yeah.
Go do what you need to do within those guide rails.
Yeah.
But my job should not be to, oh, that guy's a blah, like don't act like that. And that's something that I struggle with,
Right.
and I need to continue to work on, because if I continue to have that low energy, then it takes me away from my purpose.
Right. I dig that.
Yeah.
It was just interesting that you brought that up, and I think it was like yesterday someone said something.
Yeah,
similar about low performing vibes or whatever.
Did The Secret come out in like 2006, 2007, something like that?
The Secret to what?
The Secret.
Oh, The Secret.
The Secret. Not
I don't know.
Not the antiperspirant. Listen, I bring that up because like there are some concepts that I learned from that video that you can actually like. It's worth a watch even now, because I think that the one thing that was said about that video when it came out was it was very inspiring, but it gave you zero direction on how to do things.
Most things.
But that's like a lot of things that you read and watch and everything that are inspiring. Then it's like, okay, now what? Like I'm ready to go. I mean, just like going to a conference. Like I am.
Oh, dude.
Yeah, I know. We've done it so many times.
You know what? And you're still kind of in this world.
Yes, I am. 16 years.
You win. I'm happy to lose that fight. Was the amount of people that you'd see at a conference or at a workshop or whatever. They paid like $1,000 to come to this thing, and they're sitting there working.
Oh yeah.
I'm like,
Yeah.
but what I have come to realize is that they're probably feeling pretty good, and it's probably some of the best work that they do in that moment.
Yeah.
And like, I think that's part of. I think that's at least in the the tech industry world of developers and coders and
because
nerds and things. Like, I think it's like it's a way for them. You're there, you're kind of feeling the energy and like, whoa, and you build some shit.
Yeah, and they're even the thing like if you're listening to somebody halfway and they're saying something and then like something goes into the code that you're you're like, oh well, what if I did it this way? I mean,
right.
there are some inspirations in there, but but I've said this at my own company. I'm like, hey, when we send somebody to a conference, the fact that they are expected to be in normal team meetings to me makes 0 sense.
Doesn't make any sense.
And I don't care what team member is listening to this right now. I still stand by saying that because because I want you to be there and I want you to be in it and I want you to be with those people and I want you to come out of it not only inspired but get something out of it.
Yeah, I want you to leave energized.
I want you to walk into to work the next day and bring that energy, bring that knowledge, bring those connections straight into what you're doing.
That'd be awesome.
Because
that's how we get our money's worth out of paying for someone to go to an event.
Thank you.
A conference. Yeah.
Yeah. Can you give me that clip and I'm going to say
yes, we can do that.
But again, because like even within business, Gene, like, your business should have purpose.
Right.
Otherwise, what the hell are you doing again?
In theory, yes.
True. But whether it's personal or whether it's in business, like, are you getting away from your purpose by saying yes to everything?
Yeah.
Are you getting away from your purpose by saying no to everything as well? Yeah. But are you getting away from your purpose by, doing the things that are not, core to your business, that are not core to your, human soul, mind, whatever.
Yeah.
And, if you're not doing those things, 80-20 in it, 80%, work towards your purpose, 20%, do whatever the fuck you want.
Yeah.
Because because that's the other thing too. Like people that are like so wrapped up in like, I have to only work through here. Like I can't see those people as happy. They're driven.
Yeah.
They're not always happy.
And I always actually try, this sounds kind of weird, but I always try to have conversations with them about that.
Yeah.
Just not because I'm like, I gotta fix these people. It's like, I want to learn like, why are you like you are, like for good or bad. I mean, whatever, like there's somebody I can think of right now that we're working with. And it's like, they're very specific like that. They only do certain things and they won't do anything else. And they have to work. You have to follow their rules. It's kind of like, if you, and I felt like, why am I helping this person? I was like, if you just like did this one little extra thing, you make like almost double what you're bringing in on this project. But they're so like focused on the way that they want to do it and what they said, they can't see this little opportunity. And it's like, I get it. You need to be focused. These are the things you do. I'm like, come on, man.
But now are you trying to fix them?
Come on, man.
Or are you trying to fix it when they think that it's perfect?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying to make them a little extra money.
That's good.
I don't know.
That's good.
I didn't say anything. Yeah. I'm going to keep that money. I'm going to do that, and I'm going to keep that money.
Yeah. There you go.
That's the capitalist in me.
Yes.
I think that's okay too.
It is okay. It's okay. Oh, it's called opportunity.
I think so.
You spot an opportunity, and
they paid an opportunity tax.
Yeah. Well, yes. Yeah. Listen, I used to try to keep all those opportunities for myself because my ADD, like
mine too.
I've had 1,000 ideas for different businesses or different products or services or whatever, and like I used to try to act on every single one of them. And it hurts, and it not only hurts your brain, but it can physically hurt pocketbooks and
That's
things like
literally how we became friends. Like overdoing
that.
overdoing
Yeah, overdoing
everything.
everything.
I mean, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I was. Yeah, you were running web design plus doing conferences plus.
We started a co-work and we started a code school.
Yeah, and
like I literally burned everyone out, and you were like the last guy that would ride with me to conferences and stuff.
Well, that was called ADD,
And I knew it was because you were like, I'm gonna do this too.
That's I get the comment so many times now, whether it's in business, people know this now, and also like personal. They're like, I said, yeah, when I was running that restaurant, or when I was in the army, or when I was doing this thing, and they're like, how many
jobs
have
have
you had?
Yeah.
I'm like, right now,
3 active at the moment that I'm all billing for currently as we're talking. We could probably do a deep dive on
what's wrong with your brain.
See, I get fulfillment. At the end of the day, I get fulfillment from doing things.
Yeah.
It's very generic.
Good.
But I mean, I've recently found that I like to I don't want to just say help people, but like through that vehicle of helping people, And I'm not talking like some deep altruistic, like, give a homeless guy a jacket thing. I mean, it's not that deep. I mean, I am always helping myself by helping other people. It's symbiotic, but I mean, that's the point. As I get fulfillment when I know that I've done that for some person, and it's gotten to the point where I don't need 1,000 people. Like, and I think that was the thing with the events, and that's why I burned out on them, because at first it was like, look at this energy I'm creating, like, and I'm saying I know everyone else helped. I'm just being selfish right now, but like, look at this energy that's being created. And it's because I decided to like call all these people together, and then show them that this can happen. And look at this, and then everyone's like, "Oh, this was great. This is awesome." It feels really good.
It does.
Yeah. And I can honestly sit here and tell you it wasn't an egotistical thing, because like I needed to feel like, the big guy in the room, and everybody's like clapping on the back. I mean, that happened. I mean, you've seen that yourself.
Yeah.
Things you've done. It happens. They don't really mean it. They're just having a good time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But it was the communal aspect of helping everyone. We bettered everyone's knowledge and career, and you leave knowing, man, we did that.
Yeah.
It feels good.
It does.
And I think and I think I burned out on it because like I realized it might not be as real as I thought it was, like in that sense, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was like, not like, does any of this, like these 2 days we spent together, does it really stick? Probably not. For the average person that came to one of, our events, probably stuck for like a month.
Yeah.
And that's probably wishful thinking. You know what I mean?
Well,
and that used to bother me, and I think it burned me out. I'm at the point now where, I mean, I could probably do one again and really get into it, pull off a good event and feel good about it, and then not care the next day, and move on. You know what I mean?
No, that's a lie.
I don't.
No, that's a lie.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
It's a lie. It's a lie. Sorry.
You can call me out.
It's a lie because
you know me as well as anyone else does in this world.
But it's not even just you. It's just like it's a natural human feeling to get something to where it's that point, and you go, like you're right. It doesn't have to be about ego,
right?
It's just like that felt good, and it's the high of it. It's the this is why I still this is why I performed from the age of 4 until 19 on stage, was because there was a high that I got.
Oh, I'm sure, man.
Being on stage, no matter how nervous I was,
everybody clap it at the end.
And and then my daughter's going through this right now. She was Clara in the Nutcracker this past year, and like before she was Clara, she'd been doing this for years, and every single day on that Sunday at 3 p.m., you were done each year, and like, boom, your life ends
Oh, wow.
because that high is gone, and like the Monday afterwards,
Yeah.
like, is such a depressing day.
Dude, you're right. Like Carl and I talk about that, and I have a good friend that puts on events of different sizes,
Yeah.
like big tournaments and events, and smaller ones that are just as invested as a big event. But and there's like almost a visible depression
Yeah, and
after something like that.
and it's not just like the organizer. Like for the organizer, it's 6 months. Like
It's also relief.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
I didn't lose my house.
Yeah, exactly.
Whew.
I didn't lose my
I
house.
made $1 more than I spent.
Yeah,
Yay.
yeah, and there is one of the reasons why at the end of the conference I don't want to talk to anybody. Like part of it's like it's gotten to me.
Yeah, you get
but
overwhelmed with
the other side
interaction.
Of it, is just like, okay, I'm just gonna go over here and enjoy the fact that
For
I'm
sure.
still alive.
For sure.
And but yeah, the high and then the low of a conference, of poor performance, whatever it is.
Mhm.
So that's why I say it's a lie, because you're still gonna feel that.
Maybe you're right.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like if you did something that brought purpose, or furthered your purpose and maybe brought purpose to other people, like, a conference, there's a lot of rah-rah.
Yeah, it feels
But listen, if they get the rah-rah and they get energized to do something
Right.
for the next month, guess what? It's going to be a really productive month
Yeah.
for them. So, their money wasn't just spent on the day of, it was spent on, again,
Yeah.
like I said, for my team, the feeling,
Yeah.
the knowledge, the connections that you got while you were there, that are all beneficial, not just on that day of, and that are beneficial for if it's a month.
And you created that value for those people.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was your creation.
Right.
You didn't write every word of everybody's speech, but you created it.
Yeah.
You were liable for it. You put it on.
Yeah. I'm curating,
Yeah.
2 conferences right now, one in June and one in November. And, like, when we're done, like one's in London, I'm going to have have a great time that night.
Yeah.
And then, like we were just talking today, like, well, what do we do on the Friday afterwards? And somebody brought up, oh, we should have a strategy planning session. And thank God for my COO. She was like, no, we will be brain dead. No. And then they're like, well, then let's do something fun. And I'm almost like, I don't even know if I want to do something fun. Yeah. Well, I'm like, I just like, it'd be fun to me the day after, 6 months of playing a conference.
Doing this.
Yeah. Sitting on one of the buses in London and just being at the top and just driving around for like 3-6 hours straight.
That would be cool.
Learning stuff, because then, like, anyway.
For real.
But back to purpose and something like a conference like that, like, it's okay.
Yeah.
That gets you to, as long as you are building the conference, because it's part of who you are and what you want to do in order to drive your life forward. If it happens to help other people along the way,
I think you're hitting on something. Before I was, called out for being a liar. So I think it's okay. I'll just always remember it. I think that
I said it 5 times.
Really, this is not it's like a self-help for me podcast, but like what I think I burned out because you just said it. Like, I started off producing these things for people like me in the things that I was doing, and it became like everyone in the industry became not very much like me at all.
Yeah.
I think, and it doesn't mean that I'm better. It just means that I went in a different direction. But like, it was just very different.
Well, I actually,
that's a whole different show.
Yeah.
You're still in it.
Yeah. But I do remember one of the.
It was like a specific time.
There was.
It was like, what? And
and I don't remember his name.
Then it became business.
No, I don't remember his name. But we had a guy that we were trying to get to speak, and he said, "You have to pay me."
Oh yes,
because I am a professional speaker.
Yeah.
And I remember you going, wait a minute, no, you're a developer
Yeah.
who, talks about these.
Yeah.
Oh, you don't even, like, I
Yeah.
don't think you're a developer
Yeah.
anymore.
Get
He's
out
a
of here.
professional speaker.
Yeah.
That is when things started to change.
Yeah. When some of the speakers began to feel like they were famous, and it was like, outside of the room of 500 people here, no one knows who you are.
Yeah.
Like, and I get fame is different for,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's a different thing. It's a spectrum and all this stuff. I get it. But
Yeah.
it was just like, that's not where we came from
Right.
as an industry. We
No,
came from helping each other.
Right.
No matter what.
Right.
And freely. And that's where we came from. And that's where everything was that I was doing was derived from. And it became not that. And I think we're talking about purpose and it was definitely not part of my purpose for
No.
putting the things on. It was not about money. It was never about getting rich doing these things, because you've been doing them long enough. You don't make any goddamn money off of, and you have to have one.
I know you didn't make any. I did the math.
You have to have, you have to have thousands of people at your thing paying lots of money for you to actually make enough money to
do it as a thing.
fund a business that
Yeah.
exists 365 days a year. I mean,
Right.
it's a big thing.
Yeah. No, you did it to
It's a different scale.
right. You did it to help people to learn to help them learn to make their craft better.
Yeah.
And then at some point it just wasn't.
That was the mission, and it wasn't that. And
Yeah.
it was like, well,
Yeah.
And literally it's the point, I think, since we're turning this into a conference discussion
Mhm.
podcast,
Yep,
I think
okay.
that, like, I don't even know, because I'm not totally tuned into the market, but I'm not sure the market would even really support like a I'm going to call my operation mom and pop, like a mom and pop style thing like that. I don't know that it really would, not at the scale we were doing it at.
You know what?
I think you could pull off a small one that was like, everyone knows that this thing's free and stuff, but like, I don't know, man. I don't know that the environment's there for it. I don't know.
Well, okay. It's expensive to do a conference. Was that me? Sorry.
Does that mean the podcast is over?
No, that means I've got to get the stuff out of the refrigerator. Again.
Piss the cones off.
Yeah, the conference landscape has changed. You are right. But
I don't know. I'm out of it too long. I don't know.
No, it's what I see now, and also like the areas I'm in. Like, I'm not going to say the name of the conference, but there's one. Well, because I'm still in, and because like I submit speakers to this particular
Gotcha.
conference.
Well, you just said the name, so
Yeah, no, I did not. I did not. That I look at it and I was like, we were discussing it, and I said, and somebody wanted to do a booth there.
yeah.
I was like, why? Like, because it's all this exposure, and it's 10,000 people, or 5,000, whatever it is. And I kept looking at it. I'm like, this thing is become like almost like a South by Southwest in one building.
Mhm.
And I'm like, they have like hip hop stars coming to. I'm like, what is it? Why is it? Why is like? And I'm like,
What's happening?
and you want to spend $20,000 to have a table there where you're competing against Microsoft, who has like 20,000 square feet,
Right.
within a convention center. Yeah, people are coming to our table.
Yeah.
But not just that. I'm like, there's no focus because it's so big. And so, I was talking with some conference organizers, last year, and they were asking me some advice on, one of their conferences. I'm like, keep it small and do many of them.
Yeah.
And
that would be my strategy.
yeah, you keep it small. You do one every other.
Yeah.
I'm like, if it's your thing to do, to make money off of conferences, keep it small. Do it every other month in different locations. Make it a road show. It once you get the formula for it, it works.
Yeah.
And then because people are going to get value out of that they're not like they think they're going to get out of the 10,000 person thing.
They won't.
But they're not even a
Yeah.
fucking number at
Yeah.
that point. So
You'll wind up not even going to half the sessions too, if you're in attendance.
you can't.
Yeah, you'll just be like,
You
what?
you physically.
Yeah, there'll be so many sessions.
We have 6 tracks for
Yeah.
our main conference, and people
Yeah.
complain about it. I'm like, I don't know how to deal with that. And like
Yeah.
we try to make them totally separate and so that we have different types of
Yeah,
attendees at
yeah,
each,
you
but
can't. It doesn't
you
matter.
know, and
Yeah.
so that's why we video all of them and they're available online. But but like again, that's a purpose thing. Like in my
Right.
business, why would I spend the money to
Right.
invest in that? But conference wise, there is a market again for smaller conferences
I could see that.
that again go towards a niche and go towards a purpose. And I think that you can make money off of it. And I think that you could, in tech field, in others as well. But you know, everything is like, what does I say? Yeah, nothing is mom and pop now, but I almost think that people wish that it was sometimes.
I definitely do.
Yeah.
I would definitely go to more.
Yeah, because I feel like I'd get more meaning out of it.
Yeah.
And, like anyway,
Yeah, the connections, the purpose-driven connections. I'm trying to bring it back.
I know. But again, business wise, it is you have if your purpose is this, then stay away from those big
Yeah,
ass
I think
conferences.
so. I think you're right, man.
Anyway,
Cool.
we did devolve into to conference talk, but
It helped me.
good. So now you've determined that you do want to do conferences, or you don't want to
No,
does it
never
take
gonna
you
do
further to your goals and purposes, or
No,
further away?
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay.
All right, man. Get out of my podcast studio.
I will do that.
All right. No, it's always great, man. I'm glad I was able to strong arm you back into doing another show.
I appreciate it.
Anytime.